Star Wars is confusing. I mean, just think about it. The first ever Star Wars movie made was actually the 4th, and they made the 5th and the 6th, and then they backtracked and made 1, 2, and 3, and they moved forward and made 7, 8, and 9. If that's not confusing, I mean, I just don't know what is. In fact, this same pattern is happening once again, this time with EU books. Queen's Peril is a prequel to Queen's Shadow, but Queen's Shadow was released before Queen's Peril. Now, both of these books are essential for any Star Wars prequel fan, but the way that they were released could be confusing for some fans. So, do you read Queen's Shadow first, or Queen's Peril? What are Youtini's thoughts on Queen's Peril? Is this book even worth reading? Hey everyone, my name is Emma Park, I'm a content creator here at Youtini, and today I'll be reviewing Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston. But before we dive into the review, let's hear from today's sponsor. Since we're talking about Queen's Peril today, now is the perfect time for me to mention that you can get a free copy of this book through Audible. That's right, you can get a free trial of Audible through Youtini, and your first book is on us. If you haven't read Queen's Peril yet, or maybe you loved it so much that you want to experience it in a different format, you have got to make sure to check out the Queen's Peril audiobook. As with all Star Wars audiobooks, the production value, narration, sound effects, and music are unlike anything you've heard in an audiobook before. And in fact, the Queen's Peril audiobook is extra special because it's narrated by Catherine Tabor, who voiced Padme Amidala in Star Wars The Clone Wars. To get your free audiobook, go to youtini.com/audible. Alright, let's dive into our review. Queen's Peril is a prequel to Queen's Shadow, both of which were written by Ahsoka author E.K. Johnston. This book cost the typical young adult hardcover price of $17.99 US. I got mine on Amazon using a Youtini affiliate link, and we will link that down in the description below. This book is a great length, coming in at 352 pages long. The front of the book has a beautiful depiction of Queen Amidala, and on the back is another awesome picture of Padme from The Phantom Menace. Now, underneath this dust jacket is a deep purple hardcover, and if you can't tell from behind me, it's kind of the theme for today. Queen's Peril is a prequel to Queen's Shadow, both of which were written by Ahsoka author E.K. Johnston. This book costs the typical young adult hardcover price of $17.99 US, and I got mine from Amazon using a Youtini affiliate link, which we will link down in the description below. In terms of the timeline, this book takes place in 32 BBY, which places it slightly before the events of The Phantom Menace. However, parts of this book do take place concurrently with The Phantom Menace. Now that we've got the basics out of the way, let's move on to the actual review. The review team here at Youtini looks at a few key aspects of every book we review: plot, characters, originality, writing, and entertainment. We don't get paid for these reviews, but we do receive advanced reader copies for free. Our goal with these reviews is to be honest yet respectful, because we love our Star Wars authors, and we quite frankly want them to write more Star Wars books. Alright, let's dive into the plot first. This book starts out on Naboo on Election Day, and we witness Padme waiting for the results of the election. Most of this book takes place on Naboo and deals with Padme's transition into being queen, as well as her getting to know her handmaidens. In fact, one of the coolest parts of this book for me was seeing how each of the handmaidens got selected for their jobs, and also seeing each of the skills that they had that made them qualified for their jobs. Like, one of them's a thief. Would you have ever thought that? I wouldn't have. Interesting choice, Panaka. The most impressive plot point in this book, without a doubt, is the Siege of Naboo. Despite this action-packed and tense sequence, the quieter moments still shine bright. We get insight into just how difficult it is to be a teenager, and especially a teenager who is in the most powerful position on the planet. Not only do we get to see Padme's political savvy, but we also get to see her creative problem solving along with the other handmaidens. There are multiple points in this book where we check in with other characters such as Maul, Anakin, Palpatine, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan. These small snippets in the story help to orient us with respect to the Phantom Menace. Despite being story tools, these were very well-written passages that didn't feel like throwaways at all. The plot in this book was very well done, and we give it an 8.7 out of 10. Let's move next to characters. This section is where Queen's Peril truly shines. Let me first mention the 5 distinct sections that are interspersed throughout the novel. Each one highlights how each handmaiden was selected by Captain Panaka for the job, as well as showing how their skills help them with being a handmaiden. The best part about the character development in this book is that it gives seemingly tiny details of very important purpose. Did you ever notice that the handmaidens look the same? Do you think that their voices sound pretty deep when they're dressed as the queen? Why do all their names sound very, very similar? Well, after reading this book, you will know the purpose for all of these tiny details. Johnston also does a fantastic job at making these characters more inclusive by incorporating some LGBTQ elements into some of the handmaidens. Johnston does this so well because she doesn't shout it from the rooftops. It's very subtle, and you can tell she didn't add these details just to say she added them, but because they're an inherent part of these characters. She also doesn't shy away from topics about the changes that teenage girls go through. This is a book about a group of teenage girls after all, and some of them are going to be experiencing the changes that puberty brings. It's very refreshing to not pretend that normal human things don't happen to the people in Star Wars. This book excelled in the character department, and we give it a 9.5 out of 10. Moving on to originality now. Johnston had a tough task here because we already know so much about Padme in The Phantom Menace. She handled this challenge with ease though, because she added smaller details and explanations about events in the book, which made them feel really fresh. In fact, Johnston does a great job of expanding on events and characters that we already know about, which is the entire point of the expanded universe. We get to know more about the Queen and Handmaiden's wardrobe and its functions, political tensions in the Chamel sector, all the backgrounds of every single handmaiden, and that's just a few points. There's many more in the book. Despite working with already familiar characters, Johnston really did the best with what she had to work with. We give Queen's Peril an 8.3 out of 10 for originality. Let's discuss the writing. Johnston takes her skill to a whole nother level in Queen's Peril. Much of this impressive writing comes from the smaller moments in the book. She effortlessly integrates the thoughts and feelings of each character after something occurs. For example, the handmaidens feel awkward around their crushes. This is a completely normal human teenager emotion to have, but the way that Johnston expresses it to the reader is so smooth that you hardly notice it's there. Johnston has an innate ability to put the reader into the scene with the characters. This creates a genuine connection with each and every character, big or small. This is not easy to do in writing, but it's safe to say that Johnston does it effortlessly. Not only does she write small character moments with precision, she also writes excellent big battle scenes. By showing us the emotion of the characters in these scenes, as well as placing the reader right in the middle of the battle, this book ends up with a great blend of politics, action, and fantastic character development. It's rare to find an author that can write everything as well as Johnston does. We seriously enjoyed the writing in this book, and we give it a 9.2 out of 10. Last up is entertainment. This section can honestly be summed up in one word: fun. The writing style makes it easy to read large chunks at a time, not because you forced yourself to, but because you couldn't put it down. There were some story points in the book that were just so interesting or unique that you couldn't help but enjoy yourself. This book is a page-turner in every sense of the word. It accomplishes this by alternating between large action sequences, political maneuvers, and quieter moments with the handmaidens. Books that make you go through a wide range of emotions are always the most fun, and that's exactly what this one brings to the table. This was an enjoyable read with plenty of entertainment throughout. Queen's Peril gets a 9.3 out of 10 for entertainment. Before we wrap up this review, let's answer the question that has got to be popping into your head by now. Do I read Queen's Shadow first or Queen's Peril first? The answer to this question isn't as straightforward as you may like. If you've already read Queen's Shadow, absolutely go ahead and read Queen's Peril. If you haven't read either book yet, I personally recommend reading Queen's Peril first. Not only because it takes place chronologically before Queen's Shadow, but also because you get to see the relationships between Padme and the handmaidens grow from being complete strangers to becoming more of a sisterhood. The Youtini staff has mixed opinions on which one to read first, but honestly, there's no wrong way to read these. Alright, that was our breakdown of Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston. Our official Youtini rating is a 9.0 out of 10, making this one incredible book that any fan of Star Wars should dig into. If you love great character development and are looking to expand your knowledge of The Phantom Menace, we recommend picking up this book using the link in the description below, or using our Audible trial at youtini.com/audible. That'll do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed our review of Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston. If you want to take a deeper dive into the books, check out The Living Force, the official podcast of Youtini, or catch the live show every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/Youtini_US. Visit us at youtini.com for reading guides, timelines, book profiles on every single story in the Star Wars galaxy. If you'd like to help Youtini more directly, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/Youtini. And if you need a positive group of Star Wars fans in your life, check out our Discord at youtini.com/Discord. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.